I'm recording Soul, the trailer, right now as I analyze it. So I want to analyze this. I paused it so I could really think about what's happening in the scene. There is this really lovely warm light. It's an orangish red light because of the curtain. There's a lot of warm hues. There's the brass of her saxophone. She's even wearing kind of a gold and yellow dress. There's a very cozy feeling going on here. And I think for me, that's meant to represent for him a kind of familiarity, a home, a warmth that draws him in. The light is also a little bit sprinkled on the piano. So you can see, just because of the way he perceives the scene, he sees her as somebody who's amazing and admirable, and he sees himself sitting right here next to her. Notice how she's not centered in the frame, she's just off to the side. He sees himself as balancing that. Otherwise, we would be more focused on her. So you have this warmth, you have this really cozy, and keep using the word cozy, feeling of home in this scene. And now we'll have a close-up. First we'll hear the sound, and then we'll close up on, of course, her. She is commanding our attention right now. Music, gorgeous. Scales, trills, his close-up to reflect his admiration. And now an extreme close-up on her. The light moves down the saxophone to draw our attention to what she's doing with her hands, and he is amazed. So an extreme close-up on him. So it sort of ping-pongs between an extreme close-up on the instrument, on her, extreme close-up on him. We are meant to live fully in that moment with him. We're losing ourselves there in what she is doing. One of my favorite things about this scene, though, is she's like, this is normal for her. She's just practicing. And so when she stops playing, she's going to be very matter-of-fact with him. She's not like all caught up in the moment. I also love the camera angle of her being up high. She is the one we are meant to respect. She has our command and she has our attention. So she's going to look down on him, literally, because she's up high on a stage, and we'll have a low angle shot looking up. She'll look down her nose at him, but that's who she sees him as. This guy, another jazz musician coming to sit in on her set. She is the one who's made it. And here he is going to fawn over her, and he will.
Hey, Dorothea, this
She
is the
looks
cat I was
down.
telling you about. My old middle school band teacher, Mr. Gardner. Call me Joe, Dorothea. Miss Williams.
Yeah, the
It's a
light's
pleasure.
still cast on her.
This is amazing.
She still commands the light. She looks so non-interested. So there's
Quality writing.
an ad here we'll get through. We'll go back to some other interesting scenes.
Ray Gardner's son.
So, we're down to middle school band teachers now.
So she looks really unimpressed. So he's playing for her. And in this scene, the light is blue and cool. That's really important. The whole movie will really take that idea of blue light and try to figure out what happens in that blue light. The film explains with its lighting that the warmth of the stage, that home that it represents for him, is different than what happens when he gets himself lost in the music. Really, James? You just watched this movie? I'm glad you liked it. I liked it too. It's just great. Well, it's something that you could analyze if you're interested. I'm providing some really interesting models that you could use and you can spin off in your own direction. I know you were thinking of doing your tutorial on Borderlands 2, and you can, but this is another option. It's so hard to show you guys this clip because I want to tell you what happens, but I don't want to give it away. But James knows that blue light, it will in the movie represent what happens before you're born. So there's the, all right, let me just throw this out to you, okay? It's a little crazy. When you're born, or when you're not born, but when you're in the womb, you're in this red, warm space. It's like a home. It's the firelight in a living room. It's the way at night you are hugged and cozy in some idea or some maybe literal space, the warmth of home. What happens before that? When I put my children to bed at night, we have a red light we put on because we read somewhere that red light really helps you sleep, gives you that cozy, relaxed feeling. We don't use blue light because blue light, research says, it keeps you awake. The blue light of the stage is when he is not cozy, warm, relaxed. He's his most alert. He is living in this moment. It's not that it's comfortable. It's that it is channeling him in to some very deep space that is the beginning of all things, the beginning of feeling. It's not a home, it's something else. It's another world. In the film, they totally use this. So when he moves to the film is about the afterlife and the before life. When he moves to those worlds, the afterlife and the before life, he's in a blue world. This scene, it suggests that the moments where you are in something so intensely that you lose track of time, you are mimicking the space that is not this world. It is another world. You're leaving the familiarity, the comfort, the warmth, the love even of your home, whatever home means, and you are somewhere else. It uses the word in this film, zone, in the zone. For him, the zone is piano. I love this. I love this representation because I know that feeling, but I don't have words for it. And so this film gives me images for it. I know the feeling of home. It's me yesterday on my couch at 9 o'clock watching Netflix, curled up with a blanket and some tea. That's home. That's comfort. That makes me feel warm and fuzzy. That is not the same feeling I have when I am writing a poem. I really like to write poetry. So when I'm lost in that idea and I'm trying to figure out how to write it, I'm in this blue space. I don't go to that blue space because it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel like I am making sense of my world. Very different feelings. The film is very interested in color, and it's interested in the way that we move into those otherworldly spiritual. I think it would use the word soulful, not spiritual, but soulful spaces. Okay, James, do I have that right? Does that sound right based on your viewing of the film? The space before life is blue. I so wish I could show you the whole movie. Now, we have this blue light, and then we're also going to have his sound. The thing that is most important in this blue light is the sound of the music. And of course, what is creating the sound? His hands. So we're going to have a mix of blue light and beautiful sound, and then a close-up on his hands. Oh, okay, we're going back to the warm light. James, I was just saying, like, the movie seems to position that before life, the before life where he meets Soul 22 is a blue world. And it's a world where you can go through and you can see people in their zones. But now he's coming back to reality. How do we know he's coming back to reality? We know he was lost before because of the change of light. And now he's headed back into the warm light, the yellow light, the real light of this jazz club. It's a little, here you go. It's warm still. It's a little different than before because now we don't just have Dorothea as the center of attention. We've got other musicians there all amazed at him, and we have him on stage as well. So we've kind of taken her off her pedestal, and now we're just in this cozy, warm space.
Sorry, I
But he's a
zoned
little
out a little back there.
zoned out.
Joe Gardner, where have you been?
I've been teaching middle school band, but on the weekends
You got a suit?
I
Get a suit, Teach. A good suit. Back here tonight. First show's at 9. Sound checks at 7.
I have one more thing I want to show you.
We'll see how you do.
All right. So he catches a gig, and that is so exciting. So he is out of both of those worlds, the otherworldly world and the warm, sort of cozy world. Now he's just in the normal world, the world we live in a lot of the day. You have to just like live your life. And there he is. The light is low key. It's low key just means nothing is being highlighted. There's some normal shadows and things like that because that happens in the world, but it's just supposed to look like reality. And I love how little he is in this scene, just in terms of camera angles. It's kind of a long shot. It's panned out. It's not focused in on Joe. It's like the whole scene because you're meant to see that he looks a little crazy. But that's another scene. Street. I love where he stops to talk to this person pushing a baby. Hold on, let me try to show that. He's like shouting at this.
You know what that's gonna say? Joe Gardner.
I love that. Like he looks like a crazy person. If somebody did this to you on the street, you'd be like, what the heck is wrong with that guy? So it's meant to do that. It's meant to be normal lighting, normal world, and here's this person who is coming off such a high. And we're going to follow him as he's excitedly talking about what's going on in a low key.
You're never gonna believe what just happened. I got the gig.
All low key. He's totally oblivious, though, to the world around.
Just don't tell my mom about this, okay?
Looks like he might get hit by a car.
Dorothea Williams class, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Whoa.
I said I want to talk about narrative, but I'm gonna right now because what we're seeing here is foreshadowing. There's a lot of things happening where you're like, Joe, watch your step. Foreshadowing, trying to warn you about what's. He keeps almost getting hit, and then he. I gotta pause there because it's skipping ahead. He falls through a manhole. So I analyzed the light. Let me go back to my notes here. I analyzed lighting. I analyzed the warm versus cool. I analyzed the piano. I didn't really say the piano's a voice. I wish I had. Sometimes you just forget. I analyzed how the sound happens right before a close-up, and I tried to show how close-ups work. I also talked about a couple other things. I stopped my share, and now I'm going to move into my couple of minutes where I try to explain what I love about this movie. And I love this movie. So a couple minutes where you just kind of explain what does the quality of those techniques do for your appreciation of the film. I think why I love this film is because these things are impossible to talk about or with the right words, the afterlife, the before life. So we have the character of Joe Gardner giving us jazz as a way to talk when you don't have the words. That is what good music does. It replaces words with what they actually are, what they mean. And Joe Gardner, through jazz, through the power and uniqueness of jazz, can tap into some real human emotion that isn't, it's so sophisticated, it's so intellectually above us that we can't talk about it, but jazz can talk about it. I love that concept. I love the concept of not having words for things that we feel and needing to move into other expressions to find those things, to find satisfaction in ourselves for those big ideas. I love writing. I love the power of words, but I think they're limited. And that is where Joe Gardner comes in with his beautiful jazz piano. I mean, the particular musician they used for this jazz piano, whoever it is, I got to find out who it is. I love the way that person draws out these melodies. So I love the film. Anyway, that's clear. And that's all you have to do at the end is just like quickly explain that, what you love about it. This is me modeling option number 2. So if you choose option 2, that's what you do. I am done with my model. Are there any questions about it? Questions about the model?
About the what?
About my model, the way that I just modeled how to do that.
Not really.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a little weird. Like, if you want to do the model where you analyze a film in real time, you have to do what I did. You have to like talk the whole time as the movie plays. So now you'll know, and I'm going to leave you with the STEM. The STEM is always just meant to see that you were like engaged in the model because it will help make your product better. It'll help make your thinking better.